For those of you unaware, because you avoid MTG Arena like the plague, or don't give a shit about Standard, Alchemy is a format in which they digitally balance cards on MTG Arena, as well as introducing new cards to Arena that are digital only. Not just in the fact that they are exclusively available on a digital client, but in the fact that they can't exist in paper because they use mechanics unique to digital platforms. Things like perpetually changing characteristics on cards in your hand, and things like that. And before you begin to write a 5-paragraph reply to this video telling me how perpetual changes to cards in hand can work in a paper environment, just stop. Nobody gives a fuck. I'm Vince, also known as PleasantKenobi on the internet, and all my videos are brought to you by CoolStuffInc.com. If you use the link in the description below and the code Kenobi at checkout, you get 5% off your order and you help support the show. I've been a harsh critic of digital errata, not only in ruining the unification of paper magic and digital as a cohesive game, but also in the complete reluctance to give us wild cards back when they nerf cards like Luminarch Aspirant to make them not as good, or not good enough to be played in our decks anymore. It is downright fucking despicable that a game or hobby that is already seen as a premium luxury and expensive one then goes on to have a digital card game client that has one of the worst, if not the worst, digital economy amongst the big card games. It is dwarfed and laughed at by people playing Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh! And Legends of Runeterra and Hearthstone right now. It's despicable that their reaction to all that kind of criticism, is just to say, fuck it, we're going to change your cards now, and you don't get refunds for that. There's a limited resource in MTG Arena called Wildcards. If you're not aware, or if you are aware, you probably get frustrated if you're a constructed player and not a limited player, but you get wild cards. You spend your wild cards on cards. So a rare wild card can give you any rare in Magic. So it kind of evens the playing field in the sense that chase rares don't cost you 40 or 50 bucks. It's actually quite a good system in practice, except if your cards aren't banned, they're just nerfed, for example, as we've seen on multiple occasions now, you don't get refunds for those cards getting nerfed. And there's also no way to get back cards that you put money into that rotate, for example. You can play them in Historic, which I like a lot, but some people don't. And there's no way to like chime in 2 rares or 3 rares or even 5 rares to get 1 rare wild card back. Once you have committed to having a card in your collection, it's there for good. It is a one-way transaction with no way of extracting value back, barring winning prizes in events, I guess, if you count that as part of the economy. Anyway, Alchemy introduces new Errata and new cards with each set in an Alchemy update a little while after the set has dropped. We're currently getting the previews for Alchemy cards now for the Neon Dynasty set release thing, and I was thinking of doing some preview videos on them because I do like Historic and I kind of do like the digital cards, but most players like me would have liked to have ignored all this shit, especially the Errata, but inexplicably they injected this all into Historic as well because they want to encourage the largest amount of players to care and buy into this shit. And like I said, I don't mind digitally unique cards. I would have rather they never did this because it keeps paper and digital Magic being the same game, the same cohesive ecosystem. But I guess to them it's an advantage to split them off because it allows Arena to make more money. Once the Pandora's box was open though of digital cards, I didn't mind too much because I quite liked most of the designs. I thought they were interesting. I thought some of them were complicated ways that I think added to the game. And most importantly, I think a lot of them were actually fun. Hell, in some ways, the new Alchemy cards reminded us that it is possible to drop new cards into an older format without completely fucking ruining it for everyone. Something that Modern Horizons' grossest offenders from both Modern Horizons 1 and 2 could learn a thing or two from. But in spite of me liking quite a few of the designs, it is not all fun and games. Today I saw this tweet from Kai Buddha, a self-proclaimed professional Magic has-been. His words, not mine, I'm not throwing shade there. He said, "I'm not quite sure why there's a small Alchemy set released. Is Alchemy supposed to have a monthly subscription fee of $100 US or something like that? Most of these being Rare Plus really irritates me." And I think it's just a very succinct window into the problem that I have had with Alchemy and Historic Anthologies and similar stuff in the past, where they are trying to transform the formats, or at least inject them with enough stuff to encourage you to buy so regularly that the formats basically rotate and then sub-rotate in the case of Alchemy. On the case of Historic, it's a non-rotating format that does kind of rotate. And we've been seeing this already in other older formats in Modern and Legacy, the Modern Horizons sets and stuff coming from Commander Legends to Legacy. They have made those sets that didn't used to rotate just absolutely transform. Be flipped on their heads every couple of months, every 6 months to a year, really. Power creep is causing this, and I've done videos on this. There'll be links in the cards in the description to a video exclusively talking about power creep as an issue. But beyond power creep, Alchemy does include some very powerful cards, but they're interesting too. And then these go on to see an amount of play, a decent amount of play, and they're predominantly rare or mythic with a sprinkle of uncommons thrown in as well. And you have to ask, why are so many of these fucking rare? The rarity of Magic cards serve two functions almost exclusively. I guess there could be arguments for things like legality and pauper, but the two exclusive functions are, firstly, it's rarity for limited. The rarer a card is, rare or mythic for example, means it shows up less commonly in a draft or sealed environment, so that means that rares don't just dominate every limited game you play because they're very rare to see. And that's a good thing. Like I said, it allows commons and uncommons to be the focus of limited, outside of cube obviously, and that's a good thing. However, the other secondary function of rarity is to make things expensive. It is to make sure that certain cards that are desirable do not have the supply to meet that demand. So they demand a price tag in real life, or they make you drain your wild cards to get them to play them online. Desirable cards not meeting their demand is part and parcel of what has made Magic successful as a collectible game. The secondary market is based off of, there are collectible elements, some are Magic, and early like Alpha Shiv and Dragons and stuff are not playable bombs anymore, but there's also an element of the chase rares being expensive and format staples being expensive. There is a very good reason why fetches, shocks and triomes are all at rare and continue to be. I think them being rare is dumb. I think rare lands is a bad thing. But it's a similar issue to what we're talking about today. The fact that this happened in Paper Magic before, where they locked powerful cards behind rares to make it difficult to get hold of them or cost you money or to crack packs, that doesn't decrease the frustration of them doing it again with the digital client. Two wrongs do not make an apathetic shrug of, wow, it's happened before, so it'll happen again. No. Both of them suck, and neither of them distract or take away from the fact that the other one sucks. We also sit at a period right now where we've had 3 admissions by Blake Rasmussen on official Wizards of the Coast streams from the mothership that they need or want to talk about the arena in future because Twitch chat keeps asking, and they haven't. It's just not happening. This all further exaggerates the issue that the economy on Arena is fucking shit. These cards are evidently rare to encourage you to burn wild cards on your accounts to get them, and then you purchase further packs to obtain wild cards. Half this stuff would be more forgiving if they'd made some admission to the game's accessibility by making some of them uncommon, for example. But they don't give a shit about the reputation as a silly, expensive hobby or money sink. They just don't care. As time passes on, they just inject more and more stuff into Alchemy and Historic, and if you want to play, you got to pick up the stuff. The casual free-to-players don't give a shit. The people drafting all the time don't give a shit. The people playing the constructed formats and want it to be a competitive game should care, because it's kind of shit. I'd really soured to the idea of keep doing videos just explaining how shit Arena is, but it really did, like, when I read Kai's tweet this morning, I was like, yeah, that is what is going on, and it's continuing to go on, and it's going to keep going on. If you didn't know, I've stopped buying packs. I used to buy $50, $100, sometimes $150 worth of packs every set to get loads of wild cards and rares to play stuff on Arena, because I like Historic and want to make content around it. I've stopped doing that because I don't want to put money into the system anymore because it's shit. And on top of all this, tech like Inquisitor Captain can then get nerfed because it was too good, but because it's still available to be played, you get no refund for it, even if it pushes you to another deck, for example, or it's just not playable in your deck anymore. Luckily, in the example of Inquisitor Captain, it remains still very good and sees play. So you didn't get completely screwed out of things, but it still leaves a sour taste in my mouth. We all call it an economy, but an economy, although not defined as such, it does suggest the idea of a transfer of funds or money between individuals and companies, back and forths almost. And in reality, it's just a one-way system where you just dump money into Arena and there's no way to extract it. And you might be wondering, well, what's the alternative? Well, Magic the Gathering Online, although it looks like it's made out of like nasal hair and yeast, it is a system that replicates the ownership of real-world cards on its system, where you can sell cards to other people or to bots or to companies and get your money back out. Magic the Gathering Online is literally just Modo. It's Magic Online with digital objects that you can sell. In weird ways, it's NFTs without the NFT bit, because you own the card and you can sell it. Although technically they can take it off you anytime you breach terms of service, but that doesn't really happen. So there is an alternative that was happening, and evidently it's still making them money because they support it and it's still up. If it didn't make money, it would be gone by now. But I guess Arena is a much better way to milk the free-to-players and to milk the whales, and perhaps to have better numbers thanks to the free-to-play system to show off to their shareholders to show that Magic's still popular. I find Arena frustrating primarily because it could have been so much more. It was meant to be the future of esports and competitive Magic, and they fucked that up. it could have been the future of Magic in general, right? The next evolution, but it ended up being a bizarro world version where it's separated away from paper, with cards that differ from paper, and non-rotating formats that now rotate due to an influx of random cards at random times, with anthologies and historic and alchemy injections and all this shit. And not only with bans, but also nerfs, where they change physical cards so they don't play like they would play in the physical world. Magic's viewership is supposedly down as well when you look at Twitch numbers and stuff. Oliver's been tweeting about how this Mythic Championship has got quite low viewership compared to the majority of the others during the Arena era of Magic. Arena was meant to be the next step, the next thing to grow Magic into this mainstream thing. And for all intents and purposes, I can't help but feel like it failed at many of its goals. I want to say that Arena has been mismanaged because it failed to live up to its potential, or has done so far anyway. Obviously there's time for things to change. But really, when we talk about goals and potential, I guess first and foremost the goal of Arena is to to remove money from your wallet, right? That's its first and primary function. And then it's just a game system or game experience second to that. And that sucks. I've been Vince, also known as PleasantKenobi on the internet. I'd love to hear what you think in the comment section below. Hope you found this video either food for thought or at least entertaining in some way as I rack on Arena for the fucking 7th time in the past 6 months. Either way, thanks for watching. Hit the like button, hit subscribe, and check out some other videos too. If you want to see a video about power creep, I'll put it on screen now. Here's a video about power creep. Go and watch that if you care about paper magic. If you don't care. You're not a real fan. You're a fake gamer, boy, girl, or anyone in between. Thanks for watching. See you all soon.